Hey, welcome! So if you've ever tried to get a website off the ground, you know it can get confusing fast. You're just bombarded with all these different hosting options and technical terms. It's a lot. But don't you worry, because today we're going to lay out a super clear roadmap. Let's get into it.
This right here is the million-dollar question, isn't it? You see these words everywhere: shared, VPS, dedicated. But what do they actually mean for you and your project? Stick with me, and by the end of this, you're not just going to know the difference, you'll know exactly which paths to take.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start where most people do: shared hosting. Then we'll level up to see the power and control you get with a VPS. After that, we'll check out the top-tier dedicated servers. And then, most importantly, we'll tie it all together to help you figure out where you fit in.
Okay, first stop on our map, shared hosting. For most people, this is ground zero. It's the most common, most accessible way to plant your flag on the web and get your site live.
You know, it's pretty much what it sounds like. Your website is living on a server with, well, a bunch of other websites, sometimes hundreds of them. The best way to think about it is like you're all tenants in a big apartment building. You've got your own apartment, sure, but you're all sharing the building's main utilities, right? The electricity, the water, everything.
And right here, you can see the big trade-off. The biggest pro? It is ridiculously cheap. We're talking a few bucks a month. It's perfect if you're just starting a personal blog or a brand new business. But the downside? Well, you're sharing. If your neighbor decides to throw a huge party, gets a massive spike in traffic, your website might slow down. It's the classic noisy neighbor problem, but for the internet.
This quote just nails the other side of it, the shared risk. Now, most companies are really good at keeping accounts separate. But if some big issue hits the entire server, like a power outage or a major attack, everyone on that server feels it. It doesn't matter if you weren't the target. If the whole building goes dark, so does your office.
So what happens when your website starts to grow? When that shared apartment starts to feel a little cramped? Well, you upgrade. Let's move on to the next stop on our roadmap: VPS hosting. This is where you get a serious boost in power and control.
Okay, a VPS is actually a really clever idea. It stands for Virtual Private Server. You're still on a physical server with other people, but here's the magic: it's sliced up into completely private, isolated sections. So if shared hosting is an apartment building, a VPS is like a townhouse complex. You might be on the same plot of land, but you have your own house with your own walls and your own guaranteed utilities. Nobody else can tap into your power or water.
And this table just lays it all out, nice and simple. With shared hosting, resources are kind of a free-for-all. But with a VPS, your slice of the pie, your memory, your processing power, is yours and yours alone. It's guaranteed. That high level of isolation is huge because it means those noisy neighbors can't slow you down anymore.
But here it is. This is the real superpower of a VPS: scalability. Just imagine you're running an online store. Black Friday hits and a huge wave of customers comes to your site. On shared hosting, you'd probably crash. On a VPS? No problem. You can literally click a button, instantly add more power to handle the rush, and keep your site snappy. Then, when the sale is over, you just click again to scale back down and save money. It's incredibly flexible.
So, the bottom line is, a VPS solves the biggest headaches of shared hosting. You get your own guaranteed power and that amazing scalability. The catch? It does cost more, and it can get a little complex. This is where you'll hear terms like managed versus unmanaged. Managed just means the hosting company handles all the techie stuff for you, which is perfect for most people. Unmanaged means you're flying solo. More control, but you gotta know what you're doing.
All right, let's head to the top of the mountain, the absolute peak of web hosting power, the dedicated server. This isn't a townhouse anymore. This is your own private digital fortress.
This one's super straightforward. You are not sharing a single thing. An entire physical machine in a data center is 100% yours. You have total, complete control over every little piece of hardware and software. The whole shebang belongs to you.
So yeah, it's the most powerful option out there. But let's be real, it is absolute overkill for almost everybody. We're talking insanely expensive. And unlike a VPS, you can't just click a button to scale it up. Honestly, for most high-traffic sites these days, modern cloud platforms are a much smarter, more flexible choice. Dedicated servers are really just for massive companies with very specific, high-security needs.
Okay, so we've walked through the whole map. We've seen the apartments, the townhouses, and the private fortresses. Now for the most important part. Let's figure out where you are on this map. This is the question that brings it all home, right?
How do you take all this info and actually make a decision? Well, it's probably simpler than you think.
Here's my advice. Forget about the labels for a second. Shared, VPS, dedicated, and just focus on your actual practical needs. First, what's your budget? How many people do you realistically expect to visit your site? Do you want a support team you can call anytime, or are you comfortable Googling for answers? Answering these real-world questions will point you in the right direction.
So the big takeaway here is this: let your needs lead the way. Don't pick a category and then try to fit your project into it. Figure out what you need first. If it's just an affordable home for a new idea, shared hosting is a fantastic start. If you need guaranteed performance for a growing business, a managed VPS is probably your best bet. The right choice will just become obvious.
The world of hosting can seem like a huge, complicated maze, but it really doesn't have to be. Now that you understand these core building blocks, you're ready to make a smart choice and get out there and build something amazing. Your journey starts right now.